Alright guys, time for a little tutorial on using the blind bidding system on our new website here. Make sure that you get onto the website and log in. You should see a screen very much like this when you log in, except it should have your team's icon here. And what you want to do is go up top here to For Owners and click on Waivers. So there are a lot of similarities in the way this is set up from the last site that we used to this one, but there are some differences and nuances. So let me walk you through a few of these. Essentially, the way this is set up is that you choose a player that you want to pick up, select an amount that you're willing to bid up to, and then select a player to drop. Pretty straightforward. This can help filter through. So let's put a bid in here. Let's do quarterback, and let's say that we want to go ahead and pick up Kyle Boller, and we're willing to bid up to $25 for Boller. And Romo didn't look so hot the other night, so let's drop Romo and simply click Add to List here, and it'll add that configuration to the list. What I highly recommend is that you put in a backup player for your bids so that if you don't get your first bid, in other words, if somebody outbids you for Kyle Boller, bids more than $25, you have some kind of a backup, and that way you don't have to pick up somebody as a supplemental pickup, which is a $10 minimum. So let's say, you know what, we're going to pick up Feely, and we're willing to bid up to $20 for him, and still, again, drop Romo. So add him to the list, and maybe even a third one here, Shaun Hill. You know, Stafford's bound to get hurt. Maybe let's roster Shaun Hill here for $15, and you can do whatever denomination you want for the bid amount. It does need to be in $1 increments, so none of this $25.48, anything like that. It needs to be in $1 increments, and a minimum bid of $2. But anyway, make sure that you've got, if you're really going to be stuck for a player, you really need to drop somebody, make sure you've got some backup options in case you don't win that first bid. So if this all looks good, and this is going to be the priority of things here too, so it's going to process the Kyle Boller one first. If you don't win that, it'll go to whatever's next in line. So it'll process the AJ Feely bid next. If you don't win that one, it'll then process what's next in line, and so on. You can add as many as you want there to that list. But keep in mind, this is the priority in which they'll be processed. So if that all looks good to you, hit Save Bids. Actually, before I do that, I want to show you what we don't want you to do, and that is to mix these together. So don't put a running back in here. So see how we have these kind of set to drop Tony Romo and to have a few priorities here for who you're going to pick up. Don't mix in running backs or anything like that. We want to keep these in groups, and that will make more sense here in just about a minute. So this should look all good. We'll hit Save Bids, and that's going to put it into its own grouping, and the way it's described on this site is as a round. So this is round 1, this is group 1, you can think of it as group 1, and this is the group in which we're dropping Tony Romo, and then picking up in this priority and for this bid amount. So it doesn't mean that you're going to pick up 3 quarterbacks, it just means, again, in this order. That's the order that the bids will be processed. If you don't win the first, then you go to the second. If you do win the first, it doesn't matter what you've got listed, it won't go on to those. So in this one, let's go ahead and put in a running back. And we'll go ahead and add Lance Ball. He's a huge stud. We're going to put $50 in there. We think there's going to be a lot of competition for him this week. We are going to drop Cedric Benson, add him to the list. And again, we want to make sure we have backups. Let's go Donald Brown for $40 as my second choice, and Ronnie Brown for $30 as my third choice. And again, you can add 4 or 5 or however many you need, however deep you'd like to go. But we will choose one out of this group, whichever one you win in this order. Now, if you're to decide, you know, I think Ronnie Brown's actually a better prospect than Donald Brown. What you want to do is, and if you want to bid, you know, if you want to change the bidding amount here, you need to remove him from the list and then basically process him again here. So I'm doing Ronnie Brown, $41, dropping Benson, add to the list. And then, like I said, this is going to be the priority in which these bids are processed. So if we want Ronnie Brown to be our second option, we highlight him and hit move up. So we can move him around using this, and we want him to be our second option, so we're going to leave him right there and say save bids. So that effectively becomes round 2. You can take a look or edit any of those. There's round 2. There's round 1. Let's do another round here. Show you how to pick up a player from free agency if you are dealing with an injured reserve player. So let's say it's going to be a wide receiver. We're going to look at Anthony Armstrong. He looked solid the other night. We're going to bid $40 for him. And let's say that Lance Moore is on injured reserve. We're going to keep this as none. You are not going to select a player to drop. You're going to keep this as none if you are dealing with somebody who's on injured reserve. So we're going to add him to the list. And again, let's go with the situation that there may be a backup here. So we're going to add Harry Douglas. Looked good the other day too, so we're going to bid him for $30, keeping this at none still. And let's add another player. Let's add Jacoby Jones in the mix now for $25. I mean, you can do the same bid that you did for a previous player if you'd like to. You can say $30. So you've got none, none, none. What I'd like you to do is in the comments box here, tell me who it is you put on injured reserve, because we need to verify that that player is in fact eligible to be on injured reserve, and therefore you are eligible to pick up a free agent while not dropping a player. So we're going to say in the notes, I put Lance Moore on IR. And that tells us who it is. Then you've got somebody on injured reserve, and that's why you're not dropping anybody. Now, if Lance Moore was not eligible to be on injured reserve, you would not be eligible to win any of these bids. So, sorry about that. That's how it works. You need to be sure that your player is eligible for injured reserve, and that means they need to be listed as questionable, doubtful, or out in the injury listing. So let's say bids. And that should be all saved. So if you get out of this screen at any time, or you log off and you want to come back on and add anybody, you can still go back to that section. That was for owners and waivers. And let's say there's another prospect that we want to add in here. We want to adjust this at all. We hear Brett Favre's coming back. And Romo, add to list, and then make sure you hit save bids. There is nothing we can do if you tell us that you added Favre to that list and did not hit save bids. Make sure that you are consistently hitting save bids if you are changing anything up. And if you need to review anything, again, you can go through this system and see how you have things set up. So if you do have any questions, please contact one of the commissioners. We'll help guide you through this, but I think it's fairly straightforward. As we're cutting our teeth on this the first few weeks, I realize there will be some mistakes. If you want to use the comment section here to really make it clear as to what your intentions for each of these groups is, I'm cool with that. You know, if you say ball first priority for a 50 spot, Ronnie Brown second for 41, and D Brown third, $40. If you need to put in those kind of notes and it makes you feel a little better, then that definitely helps the commissioners understand what it is your intentions were if you're not really quite getting the gist of how this works. So good luck to you all, and again, let a commissioner know if you're having any difficulty with this at all, and we'll help guide you through. Thanks, guys. Good luck.